maybe potentially that could be Blake's team, or maybe it's polarized. Either way, one of them has left Pleasant Park. We are not going to see that engagement, but we are still going to watch our Craggy Cliffs and Steamy Stacks engagement potentially, as they are still contested as well. So things spreading out a little bit more. The Caddy corner fight looks very interesting though. No one at Caddy, no one at Weather Station. They've all dropped on Snowmando's house. I don't know what I'm looking at there on the map.
I was gonna say that looked like a messy fight down there. So that's Colazo and company. They must have had a clean drop for a pickaxe or something if they're all up on that mountain so early, especially considering they love landing at the Caddy's corner. On the other side though, we saw teams fighting it out. Seems like Riverson's getting contested at his drop.
Are you playing it? No, I'm not playing it. I'm just watching.
Creo squad there. So again, just a little bit of everything going on so far in the map.
And I love seeing we get to see this split drop. That is the reason why we had DJ and Asia's Skittles get that game one win. The reason why I picked them, or a big reason, is why I picked them to win today, because they have a massive split. They play so well. They get these 3 houses. They also get the little kind of, you know, service station, or, you know, gas station, whatever you Americans want to call it, on the way back to the orchard.
Do you guys like it like this?
Split, but like, or should I make it full screen? Wide splits, if you practice them and you have the, you know, the technicality in there to still get your Storm Surge by going over towards Craggy, finding those sight lines, you can make them work really well, because you get all the loot of a major POI without being contested, and you still have the advantages of getting your Storm Surge either way. So they kind of put it all into practice. But again, we're looking pretty good, Monster. Your pick on 47 points, but a little bit scarier because they have to win this spawn fight again. They did it last game. Can they do it again, or are they going to be able to make enough with the loot even if they don't win it?
Yeah, when we tuned in the previous round as well, we saw the fight late into development, and that was later into the minutes of the second and first zone. So we'll see plenty of time on the clock as Avery here has to clutch up for his squad mates down below. There is just one big threat. It's Kaz who's got the health advantage.
It's really like, it's not like, you don't really be seeing, I don't really be seeing the big players, bro.
No, it's not going to be enough. Little 19 cheeky pick there is going to be enough to go ahead and clutch it up. Hey, the dance move.
I don't know if, I don't know how you check to see if there's any popular people playing or whatnot.
Playing with an entirely different team now, has gone away from Steamy Stacks. Didn't want to get into that double contest. He's now back at Lazy Lake. You know, last season we had them going toe-to-toe with every team. Riversun keeps going back to Lazy, keeps going toe-to-toe with players like Illust and Creo. But Illust was actually used to be on Riversun's team. So Riversun is now versing his ex-teammate at Lazy Lake, who both of them have played with, I think, combined 6 different iterations of teams in the last 2 seasons. So trying to make things work, but unfortunately Illust on the wrong side of that, as Riversun's team takes Lazy Lake in game 2.
Yep, Illust having a rough one here. Now, though, Jamper and Nosh up front. Poison for the big push, and Paper playing the distance shot here. Have to be very, very careful. If Poofishy tabs and, oh, wait a second. The sniper shot comes out, and it looks like that's from Zextro. Completely different team on the other side of the map. Going to go out in line 1 downtown, and they notice, oh, yeah, they saw the feed light up. They know exactly what's happening here. They want to take advantage, and is Zextro's team pushing in? Yes, they are.
They are. They're pushing in, so they're dropping that risky reels area now. It's kind of not really looking best as it used to, obviously, as well now. The desert kind of hit it pretty hard, but they get good loot. They obviously got the sniper rifle, and in the hands of Zextro, it is very, very dangerous. Been known for his superior aim since the beginning of Fortnite. It has been what Zextro's built his reputation off, and just getting a really good shot there to break up.
If you guys can hear me,
I'm looking at Joji there with 2 builds, not the best loot, and now you've got another stacked looted team on top of you. They've got their Storm Surge. I don't know if things are going to look as good for Hoofishy, Joji, and Tabs this game, or Jamper, Nosh, and Paper. They both need to do something pretty big to get themselves out of this shamble position. They invested everything in that fight, and neither of them won it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Paper's name, so I'm assuming he was completely taken out. And you talk about investing, Coliseum's the worst place to do it in the early games because the loot return is so slow.
Bro, honestly, I have no idea
another
who's
sniper
gonna
shot. And this is very,
because it's like,
what we saw
it's like
night, right?
too many, like all these people, I don't know who none of these people are. I saw a YouTuber say that Clicks Booga is in this tournament, but I don't see them. So I don't know who's gonna win. I've never heard of any of these players before. I feel like that's how it is all the time. Bro, it's like always different people. It's kind of low.
gets behind this
Let
cover
me
to
see.
get off that 1 million med kit, but again, a team that's looking a lot worse for wear, and a lot of teams will take the
Hold
storm
up.
surge
Give
on
me
the
a
Renaissance
second.
Knight, maybe get the finish and then not push the 2, but right now we're seeing a bit more aggression out of this team in Weeping, and it's a good spot to take this aggression because you've got a lot of cover from the trees. They don't have to worry too much about getting third-partied, and just like that, they get a second elimination, even more so.
Hello, can you hear me better now?
If you get it for free, you may as well, and it's Sparvo. You talked about how they might change their strategy.
Yeah, they come on up, and I saw in the distance there, what was it, Teo in the distance with Chimp and Tabney, meaning that they switched up their drop.
Oh, you gonna go on?
Quickly out
Yeah, I don't know, bro. You could go to check, see what's going on.
Jack, Acorn, and Slack. So already everyone manipulating the drop, changing up their play styles, but it's causing different clashes in different areas, and that's why it's so imperative that you are careful and you do your homework about who you are rotating into. You can see that although the Big Ten from last week aren't here, there are still serious threats on the field, and how quickly things can change, how quickly you can fall, even as skilled as a team like AJ and Rocks.
Yeah, it looks like Weeping Woods has been set ablaze as well by the Dragonfire shotgun. Such a clean way to finish off a fight. So much damage delivered when it's point blank like that. Obviously leaves the fire trail as well, which in Weeping Woods carries pretty far, but Felix's team now rotating out, looking fantastic after that fight. That's really good surge, really good damage, and that's when you want to start your game number 2. They're on 21 points, and they invested next to nothing into that, and now they get to rotate out as we see another more northern zone. Not too far by looks of it so far, but it's going to be difficult for a lot of those teams that are coming out of the southern areas, as now we have it answered. It was Ronaldo, Okus, and Blake did not drop Pleasant Park. We did still see Polarized Snake and Frat drop here like I would have thought, because that's a team that does not leave drop spots. They like to fight, and they're scaring off Posed. So I've got to ask, where did Blake, Ronaldo, and Okus go? Maybe they were our team that saw Stealthy Stronghold uncontested.
Yeah, it could have been, but I don't know. Something tells me that they might have been honestly wiped up here at the drop. Like, just look at how quickly, how many teams are down. 4 teams are down. This is one of the few POIs that are actually contested. And we saw 2 different teams get wiped up in the feed. So the question does remain. We'll see if it gets answered for us here shortly coming into the mid game. Off in distance, though, Frat tries to put some shots down, looking for any tags that he can. Would be impressive if he did hit something big.
This is scary. This is a team that's usually contested at Pleasant, and if they're taking tags on that one, it seems a bit desperate for me trying to get their Storm Surge. No one's been here. How are they going to get them now? They're used to having it as a full engagement onto Blake, Ronaldo, and Okus, so they don't have that now, and sometimes you think that's a better thing, but if you've been contested all season in scrims, in tournaments, and everything, all of a sudden you find yourself uncontested, that can sometimes be even worse. You haven't practiced it as much. You haven't played it, but that's what these qualifiers are for as well. That's why there's consistency points. Not just if you get top 10 today, if you have a consistent tournament, you can still bring it back and qualify next week. And that experience gained by playing those games uncontested could be massive, because you don't know what's going to happen in heats. As Snake's team not looking the best with the loadout either. Only 3 items of potentially 5 in Snake's inventory there. So maybe potential for a bit of fishing. Try and find something on the way in. Could even grab some apples. I don't know.
Yeah, and 2 key missed opportunities there to hit players on moving vehicles. On the other side, though, our first place team, Degen, Azure, Skittles, 12 eliminations coming out of game 1 for the Victory Royale. Here they are, set up super pretty. They play the drop spot just outside of the stacks over here. It's a quick stat, though, from Degen, who says he has more DreamHack Finals appearance than any other player, making 14 DreamHack Finals. Not to mention, that's really what I'd say lately has made his rise to prominence. He's, again, popping off as of late.
What the hell?
I might be mistaken as well. DreamHack, obviously a tournament that wasn't region locked, allowed you to play on multiple regions. I don't think we even had 14 NA East DreamHack. So for him to make finals 14 times, that means he's done it on multiple regions as well. He's done it potentially on NA West as well as NA East. And again, that's why they're
He's banned? What?
One of the most clinically underrated
Cooks is banned?
NA East. People know them.
We could what?
On a building.
Beautiful spot.
Where's Doji? Fucking edge zone? Like,
Whoa.
edge zone?
Whoa. Whoa. Clicks is cursing like crazy right now. I think he's watching the FNCS as well. That's what he's watching the FNCS as well. But he's cursing a lot.
they can
Or
do.
he's probably watching his
Yeah,
friends
with
or
how
something
consistent they've been
who's
lately.
who are
You just
playing
look
in
at the
the.
history of Dejan's placements, and you can see that he has been on a meteoric rise, if you will. Just so
Oh,
many top
okay.
placing spots. I think he even took a dream hack just recently as well. So kind of solidified and putting the icing on the cake, if you will, for Dejan. And of course, Ager's pairing up the duos dream hack games that just went down not too long ago. Now though,
Skittles was a
back
great
into
pickup
the
for that
thick.
team too. Skittles kind of fit
Yeah.
that team so well, and they're a team that does have great chemistry. We see that so much. You find a fantastic duo that gets along so well, that plays so well, and you find that perfect three to kind of just round it out into trios, and that's what the sign of a great player for me is, the consistency, not just in tournaments, but across game modes. Being able to do it in solos, duos, and trios is just so incredibly important, as right now we have Cozzies and Minish trying to make their rotate, going for the bush strat, little bit scary with snipers.
But it's how many? It's a trio, right?
You have no protection from any of that damage from a straight
Wow,
sniper bullet.
I don't know
It's
how
a
they
bit scary, but I like the strategy of one player pushing forward ahead to build a base. You really want
like
your
they're not
bush
even
strat-
fighting. Some of them are literally walking past each other. I don't know what's
full
going
strength,
on.
so you can't break straight through them. But Minish setting up on a
Literally,
sniper here and could find a potential angle. I question this play, but I actually like this the more that I think about it now. If teams don't know they're in that bush and they open up some edits, I
that's
think the
who.
snipe there will go a long way.
Oh, that's who he's watching.
Yeah,
Okay,
no doubt
okay.
about it. You got to be careful. We saw a couple teams get punished last time. Was it Threats who opened it up when putting fire in? It was Bumboy on the other side.
Took the shot
Oh,
on
it
that
was
one,
Dukes, yeah, it was- it
unfortunately.
was
Yeah, it
Dukes,
was.
Dukes.
I think it was Threats
Dukes over
opening, but I think
Bumboy.
it was Dukes taking the shot, unfortunately.
Yeah, got to be careful with those snipers, man.
Got to be careful of the zone too. This is an interesting rotate, and I've talked about how they have their big split and get a lot of loot, but things not looking too fantastic for Skittles team. 223 above, so they found their Storm Surge, which is good because uncontested, that's a little bit sketchy, and I like this rotate. Taking those Storm Ticks, they've taken, what, by the time they get in about 30 damage each or so, but they've rotated all the way around all those teams you see in that bottom right on the mini-map there, and now they get to get into a better spot. Sometimes the Storm can be your friend as well as an enemy. If you use it, players won't be expecting you to come out of it in different spots. Now they rotate all the way around a team that I want to see do big things. We talk about underrated. Mars OW Monster, a player that is a little bit more interesting in the community, not actually playing in the practice scene as much, but playing so heavily in arena. I think he's up to almost 300,000 arena points now. Just an unfathomable amount, but showing that the experience in that does carry over to tournaments because he's playing so consistently right now in stacked tournaments as well without almost any practice.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, listen, he plays with a purpose when he's in arena, right? He plays to win. He plays to take those fights and come out on top. And honestly, it translates well when he's in a pickle, when he's in a tight situation. He pops off. He treats the game like any other. And if you really think about it, I guess the constant queuing up of arena gives him advantages in a lot of different ways, right? I guess the volatility that you can't really guess, right, in normal games. And he's performing well there. Whereas in the practicing in these high-tier games, it's a little bit more predictable, right? You know where players are going to drop. So you give someone like him that arsenal, that information, he's playing well off the bat because it's one less thing he has to worry about.
I see Sparebo picking up another elimination in the feed now onto Nosh, so they're having a really good game here, jumping up. I saw them around 20 points, so they're looking pretty good. A few kind of teams going down here in the feed as we get a very, this is probably one of the safer zones you're going to get. It's around the middle of the map. There's nothing too crazy going on here. Degen, Age, and Skittles utilizing the vehicle to try and make this rotate, building out of the backseat, and it's going to be interesting. Do they try and set up on the edge, or do they try and go more central? They are going to try and go on the edge here, which will be interesting when it comes into Forza Zone now, how they make their next rotate. But I wonder, do they need Storm Surge tags? It's one of the main reasons you'll see teams like this set up on the edge, because if you go too far central, you're just going to find teams in fully built bases. That's very hard to get your tags on. But right now, teams like Mars who are trying to rotate in, I was just singing his praises. Looks like they're going down here, unfortunately. That's a lot easier to get your shots off onto, rather than teams like you see Jack, Acorn, and Slacks completely centered up in base, and you can't find any angles on them.
Yeah, and I just wanted to touch on Degen and Ages in particular.
Bro, how do they never stop talking like that? Holy moly, they just never stop talking? What the freak? Like, how is it, bro? How do we even know what's going on if you're always talking? Like, what? I don't understand that. How do they never stop talking? I just... What?
We gave that, I guess, that crown, that title to Xset last season, but now
like this doesn't make any sense. Like, can you guys let us? Like, you guys are talking the whole time, bro.
I mean, Scented named himself Low Ground King 7 for a reason. He is the one who's always holding down that low ground. I mean, there's even been a wave of people imitating wearing Scented's exact loadout in tournaments so that on low ground, people are less likely to try and fight you because of how much reputation they've built up down there as Jack gets that finish onto Mars. But again, I talked about at the start of the show, Scented, Edgy, Commandment were 1 point off qualifying into this round 4.
So how many people are alive right now?
At the same time, I want to see Jack, Acorn, Slacks have their big performance and come top 10 or even potentially win here today without one of their biggest contenders on that low ground. And yeah, XZ also not here. Very good call out, Monster. So low ground's actually looking very open from the teams that we are aware of.
Okay.
But on NA East, you never know. There's so many teams in here who haven't built up that storyline or that reputation for their playstyle, and maybe low grounds where they have their sights set as well.
I mean, yeah, you got players like Fishy in here. You got Chap still in here, right? So no one's free on low ground, not by any means. Still some Slayers out there. I know.
It's like, bro, 56. Okay, but everybody, I see, like, I guess, you know, in the FNCS, they don't really be fighting that much. They just be shooting at each other from far away, and then I don't know, cause everybody's boxed up. Nobody's really, I peeped that. Nobody really rushes anybody. I think it's when the storm surge is happening right now, so they're gonna start fighting.
Damage from the storm will do the rest for them. Stitch, Steelsy, and Jelly here. Beautiful loadouts coming into the mid game here, Aussie. This is where you want to be.
Yeah, very good loadout as well, and it's interesting to see how people are playing the assault rifle meta as well. That legendary heavy assault rifle, slower fire rate, tends to have a bigger bloom if you try to hold it down, but if you can tap your shots or have that clinical accuracy, it does hit harder and do even more damage. As we see, it looks like Susscript and Bumboy not in a great spot, and I don't see Cloudinator. That's your 4th place team that I've been saying has been playing so well coming into these games. I believe they performed insanely well yesterday to qualify into this spot. Yeah, coming top 10, so they were looking really good, but unfortunately, as a duo here, something's come unstuck. And then again, people looking for their storm surge now. People are going to start getting desperate as Steelsy.
Yeah, you see? Yeah, they starting to fight.
Has that epic tactical shotgun in hand.
Nah, but he's 22 above storm surge.
No, Steelsy finding that little minute angle as Susscript does fall to Stitch, and Jelly takes down Susscript. That's who they were looking for, and I don't know if Bumboy's still in this one.
Okay, you was talking about Joji? LG Joji's on top right there.
Fishy, Joji, and Tabs up in the air. Storm Surge going off on the far left side, the western side of the map there. Here on the other side, Glace, Zexro, Chaotic still alive. Big names here. Class.
Oh, Colazo. There he go right there. He on height.
Definitely have my eye on. Possibly even a prediction to take it all. Gotta keep an eye out on that team. I'd say criminally underrated as far as what they can bring to the table, right, on the big stage.
I think the biggest issue for that team is they've been contested at catty corners day after day, week after week, consistently trying to hold it down, and they were being held out by a team, COD Genesis, Qua, and Shades, who have now split. They formed different teams, so I thought, here it is, Colazo's moment, here we go. And then no, he is contested at catty corners again today. We haven't seen that fight break out yet, but it's an interesting one, as right now, Fishy's team, your prediction, looking like they get a full wipe in the feed, but Slack's converting straight back over, so that's very unlucky for them, as DJ and Aids and Skittles showing that sometimes you don't need a vehicle, you don't need rotation, you don't even need builds, you can just run it.
What?
Definitely, and for the first
what?
Getting away like this is massive. And considering, remember when we tuned in with them last, they were
I know if it was me running it, I'll be getting lasered.
Break all line of sights, really trying to conserve materials, so you can tell they're taking it a step further, trading shields for free rotates here off in the open so that they don't burn into that material count. It's going to pay off as well.
I think I've heard of Colazo before. Or however you say that dude's name, man. I think they said his name was Colazo.
Absolutely nothing. That was a great rotate. This is what I wanted to see. Yes, as you can see it, your eyes are not deceiving you. Class has picked up the snowball launcher. I was talking about this. This got busted wide open yesterday. Sorry, guys. I'm going to take the mic for a second. I got to give you the history lesson. We did have Spudlight. Got to shout him out. He discovered this. A lot of players not understanding why this item would be so strong. And if you're at home and you're questioning me, I'm not going to doubt why you're confused as well.
You just shoot at people when they go into the storm.
Through builds. So it's not a surprise to see that team on high ground. All you've got to do is get the snowball launcher, play it under the feet of your opponent on high ground. They get the ice effect. They're going to be slipping all over the place. They can't build. They have to base up. High ground is yours. All I know
Oh.
is this end game is going to be exciting. That's all I can say. We'll have to see how it goes. We saw it yesterday in round 3. That exact team, Class, D-Roller, and Kalaza got their hands on it. They dropped caddy corners. They won game 1 and 2 of round 3 using it. So let's see how they play out this game. I'm excited.
And it goes through the boxes. And it can go through the boxes. You can do it in so many different ways. It's going to be very interesting. And that's why it's hard.
So do they ever have solo FNCS or what, man?
Big teams, man, pulling it out on game day. So we will see. Legion Agers, though, under the storm surge right now, they're going to have to fight. Up above is going to be bringing all that pressure now. You can see Class is the one holding it. He's already let off a few shots from the snowball launcher. Down to 7 shots here. Starts off with 12. So it does come completely capped out when you do pick it up. Here it is. He's going to look to exchange it for a second there. And no, he's absolutely ready. There's one. And they're gonna send him flying now.
You talking about this? You talking about the solo FNCS? They don't have it. They're not gonna have it this season.
1x1 tarp into base. It will go through those walls. They will not be able to build. They will not be able to rotate, and it applies that pressure. That player it just connected with can't build up now. Their feet are gonna be iced.
Wait, is this for the World Cup or is this what is this for?
This team can make this one play out, but right now, just think of it like a rocket launcher almost. It's just applying constant pressure beneath them. So even though he's not getting eliminated,
oh, is this? Wait, so this is the qualifier for the FNCS, or is this the FNCS? Because I don't even know what's going on.
Pressure is just constantly being applied.
Like, what is this for? Like,
you have those icy feet, you lose control of your direction, so you basically have to stop. You have to box up, and you have to wait for a second or two there for the effects to go ahead and wear on off. On the low ground, no, safe and sound. Legion Agers, Skittles here, keeping their distance away from that high ground carnage. And it looks like it is paying off. They're going to get cut off. Someone's going to jump in the tarp as well. This is your
joint
place
boring,
team, by the way, into another top 10. And oh no, Skittles gets just wrecked right there with a shotgun to the back piece. And D-Gen trades out. What an intense low ground fight right now.
2 eliminations looking good. They've got a bit of a heal off, but I don't think it's going to go to full heal off right now as D-Roller, Class, and Kalazo is going to start working their way top down. Jack Acorn and Slack still in this one, doing insanely well, trying to just get away from this snowball fight on high ground. But how is this team going to work their way down? How are they going to get their eliminations?
Oh, this is the finals? Okay.
Already gotten 6 of them on the board, so things are looking fantastic. Only 8 builds though. Class does not have a lot to their name.
But I think they got like at least 4 more games or something like that.
Zone pulls back. All their old tarps can now be utilized, but that also means these teams on low ground can go back through their old tarps as well and keep their inventory looking a little bit better. So it's a double-edged sword for that team on high grounds.
Yeah, Jack Acorn and Slacks, 9 elims on the low ground, really playing catch up here, considering how many they have.
How much you winning if you place first place?
Is it enough to bounce him back and get some comfortable, but not all the way up polarized?
Bro, they need to do more cash cups, man. I want to do some solo cash cups.
And they actually pick up a number of elims here. It's 7 already for the high ground. So many players still remaining here in the final instances. So many points still on the board to be picked up.
That's what they need to do, more cash cups, man. Some solo cash cups so we could get some earnings, man.
And it's a 3v1.
I don't like working. I don't know. It's just like being on a team, bro.
And third place teams are all up there. Players all sorry.
I don't know.
Acorn Slacks just outside it, but that is first and third battling it out right now. So huge points are going to be swung here. That's why it's so crazy. As D-Roller.
Yeah, I might play with subscribers, but not now. Probably after the FNCS is done.
It's a 3v1. There's no way they lose that one. They didn't even need it to go to heal off. We got to see it. They were the alpha snowball fighters.
So who won? What the hell? I was looking at chat. So who won just now?
And not only that, they had the high ground. They had everything already working for them. The snow launcher gets really interesting when they are not on high ground. You can see what kind of tricky plays will come out later. With them on high ground, I mean, that was just the icing on the
Kalazo? Oh, okay, okay.
Had to walk away.
I mean, the icing, I like it. We'll see. They played it so phenomenally well overall, and they tried a strategy that no one else has really been using.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely mixing things up, being innovative, and that's one thing NA East is very, very known for.
Am I saying that right? Am I saying Kalazo right?
That's to see what the analysts have to say about that game there.
Vivid, you asked the question, are we going to see the snowball launcher? Aussie broke it down for us, got us up to speed, and you know what? These guys walk away with a very chill victory royale. I'm so sorry. I'll see myself out. I'll catch you later.
I think honestly, Class is probably playing from Texas because it's snowing in game right now. It's incredible. Like, you know, this is something that we probably didn't see in EU at all. You know, we were looking out for them. We were looking out for it in EU. We're saying, is this going to happen? Not at all. And this is a team that's been doing this in scrims, in NAE scrims. They picked it up, and game 2 they managed to do it again here.
I love it, Vivid. I love it. Now, of course, we got to take a look at some of the fights that happened in the early game, things we might have missed. Break it down, gentlemen.
Okay, so overall, getting into a bit of that replay here, you see it in that early game fight in Lazy Lake, straight up. We saw Avery's team going up against Kaz's team as well. And this was a really, really tense fight. And I feel like some of them were playing a little bit of their creative playstyle too, because there was a ton of builds going off here.
Yeah, definitely taking a book out of the playground practice here. Avery with the high ground here, though, going to be getting some nice shots in. Kaz from the low ground going to be getting some even better shots in with the low ground peaks there. Nice little reset there. And yeah, I mean, we saw this fight go down on the broadcast. We know how this one ends up. Kaz, just like I said, from the low ground here, going to be finishing off with a nice SMG spray there to break the build. So he gets this nice angle on Avery there. And then, of course, to finish the fight off, we're going to get a little bit of his dance moves there.
And one of the things about this fight is like they took so many materials, right? They used so many materials in that build fight that all players in it ended up running out. And this is where you have to make these angles. You have to make such a good plays with these angles that you're taking. Right-hand peaks being slow about it, and that's exactly what we saw. But moving over, we saw Sparrow pick up this elimination, and this is a really, really critical elimination for them because you saw Felix go for the headshot snipe, which gives him a ton of surge damage from this as well. But on top of that, they actually managed to pick up the assault rifle ammo, which coming from Hydro 16 was not very good.
This is like bruh. There's too many good people. There's too many good players on Fortnite, honestly. Too many good players. Every other day is gonna be a new.
Later on,
every other day is a new player that's super good.
There with RPG or on height, so not really sure what happened, but they are finding those good picks in the mid game to make sure they do have that surge. So they can play for the end game RPG strats.
I like it. Now, of course, we got to see how all of this has impacted the standings. Where are teams after game number 2 of the FNCS in NA East? Well, let's take a look together. You've got Frat, Ackerman, and Polarized, who have now jumped into first place out of nowhere. And boys, this is off of 0 victorials and 21 eliminations.
Yeah, it's very, very, very impressive. And, you know, their first game, they ended up with 12 eliminations. As we kind of pointed to that last time we looked at leaderboards, and that was a 3rd place. Now they've come in 2nd place with 9 eliminations. So this team, you know, without having sent its team on low ground, these guys are just completely popping off, filling that gap in the meta right now. Huge eliminations, consistent placement in that top 3, and not really picking up the victorials, but they don't need them when they're at the top of the leaderboards.
Yeah, that top 5 right now is looking scary. Now, a team that we're seeing bump up a lot here is Riverson, Kaz, and Lazar. We saw them win that off-spawn fight in the replays there, and they just snowballed that.
I think I heard of Riverson before.
7th place position. Felix Sparrow are at 39 points as well, tying with that team. They're in 6th. Hopefully they can start doing something with that RPG in the late game and get some victory rounds themselves.
Yeah, they're kind of moving up the leaderboards a bit. You know, they were 7th in the first game with 3 elims, then 10th with 7. So, you know, they're definitely picking up some eliminations and some placement, but we all know you got to go into that top 3. But if we're on to our next page here, we saw in that 11th slot right now, we have Zexro, who's kind of come back into Fortnite after a bigger break. And we saw back in the replay package, him hit this really, really crucial snipe as well, which gave them a ton of Storm Surge damage on the team that was in the Coliseum.
Yeah, and something about Zexro is...
Why it be taking so long for them to go to the next game?
Champion.
What they be doing?
Yeah, so he actually ended up beating me at Chap and Suzuki way back when out by like 1 point. So Zexro knows his trios. I'm sure we'll find him, you know, soar back up the leaderboard and make a show in beats.
Absolutely. And, you know, moving on to our next page, you know, we're down in the 21st to the 25th. These guys, obviously, you know, 2 games over, they've not really managed to climb up the leaderboards yet. However, they're definitely potential too. They just need to kind of get those 1 or 2 big games, and that's going to climb them up a ton of spots. Remember, you got to get into the top 10, and a victory royale is worth 30 points. Every elimination is 2, so 1 really, really big game from any of these teams would just be really, really great to climb up that leaderboard.
We'll have to see, man. We got another 4 games ahead of us. We'll have to see if players utilize the big chill to give the lobby the big chill. Now, guys, we're getting ready to kick it back into all of the action. So let's send it back over to our casters to be our eyes in the sky. Casters, over to you.
Ooh, and that was just game 2. We got a nice little wind of what it's like up above.
But the thing is, though, I ain't gonna lie. When you watch these
I mean,
players,
listen, Ozzy, you
you
broke it down
really,
perfectly. You made
you
a
really
YouTube video
honestly
on it
like
this morning,
learn,
right?
like you learn
All the
like how to
details
play
about it.
because
All
some
the
of these
different
guys, bro,
words.
they be
Give
making
us
some
an
awesome
insight how you
plays,
picked every
and you really learn how to play from these guys because you get to see what they do. You know what I mean? That's what I like about watching some. Sometimes I don't be watching them. I don't be watching all the tournaments, but when you watch these tournaments, you really get to know how these big boys play. Like, you know, it's really cool.
100% of the time, Snowmando will spawn there. That's all it takes. So with the gold economy ramping up now, with you getting more for bounties, more for quests, starting with 50, it's a lot more achievable to get. It'll be interesting to see whether they can get their hands on it without being able to have the bounty as well. Or looks like no. By the time we got that map shot, they have actually already eliminated them, so they were contested, and if they manage to get a bounty on top of that from Kit, that means they are guaranteed right now to have the 400 gold necessary to get it again. So we could likely see the big chill come out in a big way again, and I'm just so excited to see it. It's that simple. So seeing how the exotics come into it, how the gold economy comes into competitive is so interesting because it doesn't carry over like pubs. You don't get to keep your gold, but if you have a drop spot like Caddy Corner that has a guaranteed NPC like Kit that gives you a bounty, that gives you a quest like Farm Metal, it's very easy to get your hand on enough gold. But up until this point, Colazo's team's been using that gold to upgrade their weapons. Kit also is a guaranteed upgrade, but choosing to go for the big chill, and last game showing why.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, and again, it's gonna get real interesting. We could see it come into play in the low ground. Back with Who Fishy, Tabs, and Joji though, up against Nosh, Paper on the other side of the wall here. Do have to be careful. Who Fishy's team has come out successful round after round, but last game not accruing as much points as they probably would have liked. This is game 3 of 6, just about the halfway mark here soon.
I wonder how many players are on controller, man.
It looks like Nosh, Paper, and Jamp are changing up their strategy, trying to hold the high ground down. Last time we kind of seen the fight break out in that game 1 was really beneath the Coliseum, down in those more box fight kind of style fights. But it looks like Nosh.
And how many players? I wonder how many players are on console.
They are at least. You can already see they're taking this fight on the edge of Coliseum. That's now facing the dirty dock side. They're not on that risky real side where everything went wrong last game when Zexro got that beautiful headshot snipe. Because this team, they're still sitting on the donut monster, 0 points, which is a bit disappointing for them, but obviously to see why. They're contested at a drop that, like you said, is really, really difficult to make it out of unless you get your fight really quickly and clean it up just as quickly.
Yeah, this is still the qualifying rounds as well, right? This is not where you want to be in the qual stages. If anything, you want to be popping off here, showing up, so that when it comes to the final stage, when it comes to the heats and how things are going to break out, you put some respect on your name, if you will. Paper's been struggling in the final stages in the last couple major tournaments he's participated in, but again, showing that he can still run with the best of the best. Made it this far so many times. Just needs to push that boulder over the final mountain. And now look at this. We see a bit of a standoff. Two opposite ends holding down, right? Tabs, Joji, and Who Fishy. They know exactly where the opponents are. They're going to go on and play their distance.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what's happening with our first place team over here. They had a really, really good game too, but again, I always talk about kind of why did they have their good game too, and can they replicate that? They had a great game too because they were uncontested at Pleasant, so looks like maybe potentially same thing happening here though. Don't know where Blake, Okus, and Rod have gone this game. Not really sure what's happening, so Snake's team has this one locked
Two on
down as
console, yeah.
Craggy is still going on
for sure.
That's a big investment of a fight.
Yeah, definitely, and so early into the round as well. It's only zone 1. The zone's going to be here, though. You can see, I think someone's knocked. Yep, there's the fall damage to Cartoon as he goes flying off the build. Way down low. Here's a full thirst off. Has to take the shield off as well. That's what happens when you take the fall damage. The shield does stick with the body. And Krusty now has a single elimination. Seems like Cartoon's teammates are hidden out inside and or ran off to the main. Oh, no, yeah, they're underneath main here. They might get spotted out, but no, they don't look backwards.
Yeah, it looks like they can try and hold out. Peterbot going to go for the snipe. That's a risky one because now they know where you are and they can turn around, or are they going to keep running? No, looks like they're happy to run away, and I mean, that was their first elimination of the day. That's their first 2 points on the board coming into game 3. They've really got to change something up. Looks like Craggy's not working too well, but they're now rotating towards the Flopper Island, towards that stealthy stronghold, which, as we've talked about, hasn't been as contested previously, but I see some builds, and it looks like Krusty's team's pushing from one fight into another. They want to clean up this fight, which Mars's team is involved in. in on the Flopper Island. And I have to think this is a good push because both these teams are going to be very...
Bro, I swear I never get to see the... Okay.
Shambles, if you've got a sniper and one heavy bullet, you can take a team from 100-100 to
Bro, like...
gone.
Why are you showing me he getting res? Show me what's going on. Oh my god, they terrible, bro. What is they doing? Show me the fights.
Crumbler and Nexi, the beautiful sniper shot there really opens things up for them, and honestly lets them see another game, or at least later into this round. Oh, wait a second here, though. Ronaldo, Blake, and Okus. Okay, so they've given up their drop. They definitely did come up to the stealthy stronghold. It was uncontested, and they still haven't earned any points. Not even in the previous round. So that
With the chat, they not even. They just saying emojis.
Met and greeted by Nani.
Yeah, right now it looks like they're fighting it out with someone else who's 9 points on the board. So this is really a battle that both these teams desperately need to win in Game 3. If you want to start getting your points up on the board, if you want to get into that top 10, which most people are gunning for, you need to start picking things up. And that's what Blake, Okus, and Ron need to do. And I know if you're a Ron fan, Blake or Okus, they're low on the leaderboard. But yesterday, in the round 3, in their first 5 games, I believe they only accrued 10 points. And they brought it back to place, I think, in the top 10 in the end. So they're a team that they can overcome the adversity at the start. If they have a bad start, it's not always going to keep them locked down. So I want to see Blake, Okus, and Ron do something big, because even though they can come back from deficits, they're running out of time. 2 games down in a set format like this against the best of the best. It's hard to have those big jump ups if they don't figure something out now.
Yeah, you need to find those big jump up point opportunities. Saw a bit of it, obviously, in yesterday's OCE finals as well. Things go back and forth. It was a nail-biter of a qualifying last game. So many of the top teams really just trying to find their last-minute strides and pop-offs. So we know anything is possible. It can really, truly be done in 2 big games.
Yo.
Snipe, though, right there. Put down and now taken out to the back here. Pause.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Pick up here, but no, Blake's going to step in for the one-on-one against Nani. And Nani doesn't actually have...
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was going to say, he doesn't have the knowledge that he's in the lead, but he actually baits Blake in. I think he took him out. Yup, there's the knock. Wow.
Yeah, that was a question one. Again, we've obviously got the ability with the Observer client to see what's going on. We get to see health, we get to see builds, but an interesting push there from Blake in a situation where it was looking like a one-on-one, but he had the massive shield deficit, and the teammate already had the revive going, so that really looked like just a bit of confusion or miscommunication on Blake's team. Blake wanting to push, Ronaldo and Okus very clearly happy to disengage, and we've talked about it time and time again, Monster. Sometimes 3 people making the wrong decision is still better than 3 separate people making different right decisions, because you split the team up like that and now they all go down and they didn't have the big game I was asking of them.
Yeah, it's really those solo plays that'll punish you in these team-based game modes, especially when you walk into someone who's a bit more prepared than you are. And again, you can see how quickly things can change, how quickly things can unfold, and the situation becomes unfavorable. Nos, Jamper, and Paper, though, end up giving up the Coliseum. They rotate out down to the barn to play for loot, and quite honestly, 20 builds, you haven't gotten much.
Yeah, they're walking out with a lot. You talked about it. Coliseum just doesn't have a lot of material. I talked about it in one of the games. It's one of the only structures on the map that is indestructible. You don't get any material from farming it. So even though
that's why that's why I don't like going there. I don't know why people like going there. You can't break stuff.
You've got the, sometimes depending on how Coliseum changes, if you're going back to the old Roman days where you've got the the battleships in the middle, like you can farm a bit of wood out that way, but not particularly as we see a big fight that's invested a lot of mass, clearly a drop spot that doesn't struggle to find them right out of here over near the lake house, and get a nice little sunset featurette here on a very big build fight that don't know who's going to come out on top of this one. I think the players above are just happy to hide out, and looks like we've got our team below, Ale's team, wanting to break it out, but that's a lot of builds to try and bring down. They're still going to try though.
Yeah, it's almost there. It's just held up on a few structures. There were some teams shooting off in the distance, and that's what pretty much slowed this entire process down, and now unfortunately having to switch back to hard mat, so all just wasted time, wasted material. That's got to sting just a little bit, as they do still ultimately come down off the bouncers. There was so many there in the vehicle. They managed to get away. The builds are just enough to get the blocks that they needed. And there it is. They're clear as day across the bridge. No one to look in and take them out, and they're lit up as well. Villets out too. They're upset about that one.
I saw this one in the feed, and I was wondering what happened here. I'm pretty sure we just watched Jack, Acorn, and Slacks get completely clean wiped out. That's the 4th place team going down here. They came into this game on 63 points, looking really good, and not really sure what this fight was. Rotating out of that Slurpee Swamps area, they kind of take a fight here with Rox, AJ, and Vix, and they go down, and now AJ, Rox, and Vix looking so good on the loot. I mean, when you've got the loot they get from their drop plus Slurpee Swamps, that's pretty massive, and then 400 damage above on the Storm Surge. This is setting them up pretty much perfectly for the end game, as Chimp and Tabney probably saw that fight break out, got a little right-hand peek around the corner, and like, yeah, we're just not going to go ahead and take this fight.
Yeah, not to mention they're down a player as well. So again, Slacks, Acorn, and Jack probably clash into Tabney and Chimp here. Teo being the one that gets taken out. You see Tabney's ready to hold this out. He's like, listen, my man, I got a med kit. We're chilling here. You got to let these guys go before we make a move. They're going to go on in sand dune, sand tunnel on out. So it should be pretty easy rotates for them now moving forwards. Couple crystals there as well. So perfect.
This is the hard part now as well. They get to rotate through the middle. It's going to be really difficult for a lot of teams to get their Storm Surge that are set up on Coliseum, because a lot of people are going to make these similar rotates, whether it be sand tunneling, whether it be using those 0-point crystals, and all of them just make things so much more difficult to hit targets. I talked about it. You do damage to the sand as they rotate past, but you're not doing damage to the player, so you're not really whittling them down. You're just kind of getting a few tags, and looks like AJ, Vixen, rotating really... Oh, sorry, Rox want to stop here on the edge.
I thought the sand did damage. It hit me like... I didn't know, like... I thought you could shoot at people while they're in the sand, but you can't. You shoot at them and it makes it get up. It makes you get up out the sand and then you can shoot at them. That's kind of dumb. I don't think it should work like that.
I question how much Storm Surge they've been able to get from their uncontested Pleasant, but they're first place for a reason. I'm sure they have a strategy that's going to work. I questioned it last game, how they're going to get their Storm Surge when they're uncontested. They turned around and jumped up in a first place, proving me wrong, so I'm not going to question them again.
Yeah, and they were one of the few teams in that first game, again, making a bit of a record-setting pace there. 12 eliminations in 3rd place. The top 3 teams, all of which had multi-eliminations, double-digit elims, and then that second game, 9 elims as well with the 2nd place. So just massive, massive games for Polarized, Frat, and Ackerman, virtually qualifying their way through. Like we said, 2 big games is what you need, and they did just that off the gate here. Everything else is going to be... I guess padding, right, of the sorts for the points here.
Yeah, and I always kind of frame that as it is. It's making a...
I ain't gonna lie. Oh my god.
They've secured their top 10 convincingly here, but they have to sit out week 3. They need to make a statement. They need to say, hey,
I don't know.
Points we racked up. If we see you in heats, you don't want to be dropping on us, and that's what they need to do now. They can't come back.
Of course, but like
against those teams, they need their reputation to do the top.
Hey,
so a lot of the time, hey, they're top 10. What are they playing for? They're playing for practice. They're playing for pride, and they're playing to make those statements.
And they already pushed out Blake O'Kiss, right? And Ronaldo off the gate there, forcing them up to the stronghold. And honestly, it was a good decision by them, recognizing there was some terrain up for grabs up there, but other teams spotted it out as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. We saw that yesterday in OCE. We saw Missy Meadows uncontested game number 1, and then we saw it getting triple and quadruple contested after that. Again, these players are the best of the best. They're up here for a reason. They hit the replay files just like you guys can at home, going through the compete tab. They check it out. They know where those teams went. Maybe even checked out the VOD here on the official broadcast, and they're not the only one to come up with that idea. Stealthy Stronghold uncontested is a very, very tantalizing drop spot. As we're getting our quick stat fly in here, Frats Trio holds the record for most elims, 21 through 2 games. That is very, very good. As you were talking about there, Monster, it's not just even the consistent top 3. It's top 3 with eliminations. They are playing this format to perfection. I said it earlier. You get half your placement points for top 3, and eliminations are worth 2. So their first 2 games are textbook to a T for this format.
Yeah, just big, big games. Plenty to spare. And now... oh, look at this. They get a drop, an airdrop to land right on top of them. So that's going to be possibly a pickup for bouncers, chug splashes, and all the sorts here. Weapon upgrades. That is a good blessing for them now. Brett, though, still rocking that common tactical shotgun. So definitely not fully equipped here. Polarized on the other side. Complete opposite situation. Legendary AR. Big blue shotgun. So a little bit of night and day. on the team. So we know they have some firepower. You know things are coming together for them in some sort, in some
Whoa.
fashion. And that's what's setting them up to look so dominant here. Again, they're in first place out of game 2. This is just game 3 here. The runner-ups are Degen, Azers, Skittles, DeRoller, Class, Colazo, Slacks, Acorn, and Jack. And then Joji, Tabs, and Who Fishy. That's your top 5. Those are the teams that you want to be keeping an eye out on. Those are the teams in the kill feed eliminations there you want to be watching out for.
You definitely want to be watching out for those ones. That's where the big swings happen. You talked about the firepower there on Polarized. Polarized is a player with probably almost more firepower than any other. I know he's very affectionately named as Pixel by obviously your fellow Arab, and he does that, and he kind of attributes him to being one of the best fighters he has ever seen or played with. So when you see that loadout on Polarized, it's there for a reason. It's because he has not only the firepower as a player, you back it up with the weapons, and it's a recipe for success. That's where your damage and your eliminations come through, and that's what they're fighting on the back of as we tune into another team, Joji. And again, he has that epic lever action shotgun, and there's a reason he has that too. Joji being one of the flashiest and fastest players on the block, trying to push in here, and this is awkward around the reboot. You can't build around the reboot van properly. Joji team trying to get in here, and this is an awkward fight again. They're trying to build. They don't know what they can do, where they can go. So I have liked the aggression here. They clearly closed this one out onto a Perta, Cozzies, and a Minish, but that's a scary fight. I mean, there's plenty of times I've been backed up against the reboot van, forget I can't build, and my brain just fries and it short circuits. I keep trying to build and nothing happens, but Tab's team knew what they were doing. They started the fight. They put the pressure on, and that is a big 3 eliminations and 6 points for a team that's in the top 5.
Yeah, not only that, and it's the best case scenario for them because the high ground team is not open box. They're just sitting up, coned up, trying to keep a low profile, meaning that because of the fact that they're so isolated out in the corner, they should be okay to get a free rotate. Here's a messy fight going on in the builds, and it seems like the AR pressure's coming in from all angles. Degen, Azers, Skittles, A's playing up for high ground once again. You can see they're going to be building up. They might be able to grab it here. It's Nosh Paper, Jamper on the other side, who will be peeking in too, but it's going to come down to where the zone pulls next.
Yeah, it's going to definitely come down to who pulls zone there, and that was a great positioning. They set up on it. They waited till the fight broke out. They knew the team beneath the fight was still weak from winning the fight to be able to build up and take it. So they reinforced.
But this is like,
ramped up. They've got a really big metal base up there. And
bro, what?
That half zone, they're looking fantastic.
What's up, bro?
Team just beneath them, but
Elijah, what's up, bro?
They've only just won the fight. You see Spook there, not even having any shields, and I think they would have had time to profit by now if they had it spare. So Ages, Degen, and Skittles looking fantastic in this position as Nosh, Paper, and Jamper have to push off their high.
I say yo.
Zone, but
do you know me or have you been on the YouTube channel before?
Fortnite gods here. Who's gonna get half and first rotating? So we've seen how dangerous that is. And Storm Surge, I talked about being blessed by the gods. That's being cursed by the gods. They're 25 damage to each player consistently until either they drop or they do enough damage to go above the threshold. And no, never mind. The Fortnite gods have favored your pick, Monster, and this is a very, I want to say, long half. There's no one here. There's only 2 teams.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I was like, listen, it's lucky that the players that did have high ground weren't peeking out. They were playing so passive, but now they pull the zone, and look, they're consistent in low ground. We threw that coin out there like, oh, low ground seems to be safe. It's going to be favorable for some teams, but Who Fishy is one of those players that will be content on the low ground. You can see even with the half and half out, they could have easily taken high ground here. They could have built up, invested some. No, they're going to stay down here. They're going to play for them elims. This is how they're going to stay content and comfortable in the game. That surge was going off. It's targeting teams like Jays, B, Ronos, and TK off in the distance. They've been playing phenomenal so far. Not on the main stage where you can see them in the action feed consistently lighting it up.
Oh, snap.
So far.
I wonder how far my mic moves.
They're all still in the running right now. This is a game that's going to shake up the standings depending on who can stay consistent through now.
Yeah, and it looks like we have Crumbler next here. Mars wanting to take that high ground position. I think that was a smart play by Who Fishy as well. Whether they wanted high ground or not, building up with the whole lobby pushing towards you would have been a little bit sketchy as we see Asia's take down.
Yeah, you gotta keep that into
you talked about the ones you want to be watching there. That is that's one of our top teams taking down our first place team, and Mars team has the high ground, but I'm looking at no spare. I'm not seeing a lot of spare material, not a lot of spare meds, but I'm seeing big firepower in the inventory.
Yeah, big firepower, and for clarity's sake, that was second versus first place. So Agers on Polarized is second on first. trying to jockey up for that first place positioning. And now you look at the way the zone's gonna play out. It's gonna go past the Coliseum here, so it's going right back into this open field where no one was built up at. So it's gonna be all fresh builds, all empty sands, if you will. And you're gonna see a lot of people in the sand dunes down below. And there it is. Ackerman gets wrapped up. First place is now out of the game. And that is how quick
Bruh.
can change here on the big stage. Who Fishy, Tabs, and Joji still alive in that mid-ground layer. Chap, Threats, and Dukes leading to rotate out the way you know Chap would. And look, yes, he's getting right in front of that storm line, right in front of the rotate.
And Crumbler next in Mars need a big game here. 14 points in the first 2 games, nothing too phenomenal, but this is their chance to really jump up there. But they have to play it perfectly. I touched on it. They don't have the material, they don't have the meds, and just like that, they lose the high ground. They have to jump down, and it is my prediction. DGen, Ages, and Skittles just alphaing up high there. That's when you talk about an alpha move, just building up, just saying, hey, if you guys want to fight for this, we're willing to fight for it. And no, Mars's team dropping off. We've lost Joji down here on Who Fishy's team on the low ground. They can make something big happen, but second place is on high ground, and they have it convincingly, Monster. It's looking like they might be able to run away from this one.
I don't know.
Can step up and alpha the alpha.
And looking at the bigger picture, this is exciting because DGen, Agers, and Skittles are setting themselves up to be known as a high ground team. That's going to change things up in semis. That's going to change things up when they get broken up into the heats, because then at that point, when it comes down to picks and who to look out for, you want to know what teams are down for height, and this is one of them now. This is the go big or go home type of strategy, type of play style. The strats that you see come out of the Zates, right, in the SAFs of the world. They go for the dubs, and if you're playing for high ground, you're basically, virtually guaranteeing yourself a victory royale or 2 in the tournament if you can continue to snag it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing. It's the third game, right? They won the first game with high ground. They've now out for the third game. The only time they could is against the big chill, and that's not going to happen every single game, so you're right. They're making a huge statement about why they can take high ground and why they're going to be a team to look out for if you get seeded against them, as they are putting on an absolute clinic today. You have to imagine there's no way they can throw getting top 10 in this position, but Colazo, D-Roller, and Class, our winners of last game, showing they don't need the big chill to do well as well. They're on the low ground. We have that legendary tac shotgun in the hands of Colazo. It is so dangerous. One of the few controller players renowned for being the tarper of the team in a lot of situations, trying to find these angles, trying to use that big shotgun, gets the damage through. It is so good for piece controlling and taking those builds. 80 damage to structures, that's more than a pickaxe. It is so deadly in these end games to try and get those builds to work your way in. Tabs getting another elimination as well. This team's racking it up, and so too Fishy and Skittles. We've got so many teams.
Ooh, well, I wonder, is it free? Oh no, we're gonna have to check though. Oh, wow, that's kind of cool. Wait, no, that's his stream. He's looking at Twitter right now. Was he? Is he not looking at Twitter? Oh, some must have been somebody else then. I don't know. Okay, man. trying to figure out what's going on, man. Hmm. Yeah, so it makes sense. You know what I mean? Mm. It honestly makes sense. Sense, bro. Just like, I don't know, man. Finally. Yeah. Alright. I might I might have to drop that. I might drop it. I might drop it next week. This week Monopoly plus. Yeah. It got some. It got some weird games on Twitch as well. It's crazy. Twitch is crazy, man. Damn, this is down bad. Yo, usually this is. Yo, that is crazy. What the freak? Usually that game is way up there. Minecraft, just chatting. Chess. Like, who is playing chess, man? You see, that's why. Chess. Chess. Okay. Alright. Yeah. See, that's the thing. Nobody's clicking. Ooh, Skylines. I have that game. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Has it been an hour? I'm gonna just stream for an hour and then I'm gonna end it. Like, at least I streamed for an hour, bruh. See, he. The thing is, I don't know, but it's not working, so I don't know. Hmm. Raheem. I wanna try Raheem. See what that's talking about. Good. The pizza. I don't know. Possibly. Yeah, I think it's a buzzer. It's a buzzer, bruh. Nobody's watching the stream, man.